for joining us on this edition of Clubcast. First and foremost, I want to thank all of our donors, our funders, that allow us to do the work that we do. I also want to take the time out to thank our board of directors who are just so awesome and amazing, doing so many things for more than 4,700 registered members at our 25 locations across St. Lucie County. It is such a pleasure during this holiday season just to have great people around you that really care and want to do more and more for our kids and our teens in St. Lucie County. Today, I have one of those special awesomeness board of directors, Sarah Pride, who has been with Boys and Girls Clubs for 5 or 6, 7, 10, a long time. And I have my dear friend, she's a friend, Miss Kappas.
Yep.
No, that's not your name. Let's figure out your name here.
Well, it'll change soon.
It'll change soon.
Officially to Mrs. Gleckler.
Miss Gleckler,
yeah.
who is responsible for our PR,
yes.
and who's doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
We'll make a special announcement at the end, but first, we're just going to talk with Sarah, who has been on the board. I remember when you joined our board, I was just starting as the interim CEO for Boys and Girls Clubs.
Yes.
We were in leadership together. I sat next to you the first time. You didn't know why I was sitting next to you, but I knew I was sitting next to you because you thought you were popular, and I'm thinking, board member. I wanted to be on the board. And we talked for a few months, and then you joined the board. And we got a lot of people out of our class.
We did. A lot of good ones,
A lot of good, class 34.
Best class ever.
Best class ever. And you've been involved with so many of our programs, but the one that stands out is our Youth of the Year. This is not your first rodeo. You're co-chairing it again with Leslie Kristof, president of Keiser University, but you've done this before for a few years. So talk to us, share some of your thoughts on Youth of the Year.
Yes, I'm excited to be back this year, and like you said, I'm co-chairing with my dear friend Leslie Kristof, who joined the board the same time as I did.
I sat next to her on the bus too.
Did she think she was popular?
She thought she was popular.
Awesome. Well, you got 2 popular girls.
I did.
So we are doing Youth of the Year this year, and I'm so excited to be doing it again. We are co-chairing together this year, but in the past, I have done it with several other board members. I don't know how many years St. Lucie County has been doing it, but Boys and Girls Club of America has been doing Youth of the Year program for 75 years now. So it's a program that's been around. As you know, it's my favorite event for Boys and Girls Club. It really showcases our kids, and it really celebrates what inspiring teens we have right here in St. Lucie County.
No, the thing that I'm so excited about with Youth of the Year is every year it gets better, right? I remember the first year, me being a part of Boys and Girls Clubs, the kids were great, well-spoken, but we were at a place where we were kind of learning this thing. Even though we had been doing it a while, we wanted to take it to another level, but we just weren't there. But the years preceding that, man, we've just seen talent after talent come out of the club. Our staff members, which we'll talk about, just do an amazing job. The heart that they put into ensuring that the kids are ready for the challenge of being their club Youth of the Year is just amazing.
And you're right, Will. It's such a huge program and a huge undertaking. Your staff does an amazing job. I was mentioning before the program started, Cynthia and Rashida have done an amazing job, amongst others, preparing these kids, these teens, for what's going to push them through to potentially, we hope, we think, have a national winner this year. We have 4 amazing teens, and what happens is and you know this, at each club, there's a competition, and a club competition at each club between several teens. A group of individuals or judges that are usually somebody from the community. So those judges judge that individual club. Once a teen is chosen for that club, that teen is now the representative for that club. So we have 4 amazing teens that are going to compete in February. And then we're going to have a celebration to announce our winner on February 24th. And we're so happy this year we're going to be at Lexus. They've been so kind to offer up their facility. So we're really excited about that as well.
I want to talk more about the competition because, when you look at what Boys and Girls Clubs do, I mean, a lot of people really still think that we are a daycare, and we are absolutely not a daycare. And I don't really think people understand the level of the competition of each of the clubs. When you talk about all the essays that they have to write, they have to talk about, what they want to do to make America better, their plans for the future. And I just get excited about some of the verbiage that the kids are putting into their message. Over the last several years, a lot of kids have talked about mental health. Mm-hmm. I almost want to say in St. Lucie County, before mental health was really as loud as it is now, and
our teens were talking about it.
Our teens were talking about it, and they were doing it publicly.
They were.
And I remember having a conversation with the CEO of Children's Services Council, Sean Boyle, and saying that we got to do something different. And we had lots of conversation, lots of dialogue. And I never forget, can't remember her name right off the top of my head, but I remember her being in full-blown tears, just talking about all that she struggles with and the effect that a lot of her peers are going through in school. And to be able to get up in front of 300, 400, 500 people and to be able to talk about that is amazing.
Right, and I think we would be remiss, like you said, to not mention what a tough competition it is. These teens prepare for so long. They have essays they do. They have references from leaders in our community, from teachers, from club staff, and they work really hard to get where they're at. But not only are they doing that, they're being extremely vulnerable with their story. They're sharing a story that perhaps it's not one that we've necessarily ever experienced. And they're talking about their platform, what they want to see change, and how they're going to do it. So these are our world changers. To not get behind this event is beyond me. Like, if this is what we really want for our community, this is the event to get behind, because these kids are really the ones that are the world changers.
Well, Sarah, when you talk about that, we have a really good, strong board. I mean, you're a board member, right? So, when we have our conversations, it really focuses around how do we grow our young club members to become teen members, to go out and really conquer the world and do them, like be the leader that they are meant to be. And we do a lot of fundraising. We get a lot of grants, but quite honestly, that's the small piece in the big scheme of things. We want to change or give kids opportunities to be change agents. And as you say, I forgot what you said, but I liked it.
World changers.
World changers, I like that. We may need to make that as a something on a shirt.
New t-shirt.
Coming your way. But that's what Boys and Girls Clubs is doing. And we have a full board of 25 members that really help us to get that message out. And we're seeing the results of the kids in our clubs, 4,700 plus registered members, 25 clubs. I mean, there are actually 20-something, I want to say 23 or 2,400 kids that walk through one of our blue doors every single day. That is a lot of children and teenagers to be walking in any organization. And while we do have our share of mistakes, we do it pretty flawlessly.
Well, you and your staff have worked extremely hard to make sure that these kids realize their full potential. It's not just through Youth of the Year, it's through all the programs you do. And like you said, it is wonderful to have the partnerships with Children's Service Council amongst various others and so many wonderful donors, but your staff has really done a phenomenal job.
Well, I appreciate that. And, we've had some tough conversations over the years with the board, and we've talked it through to just make sure that we're taking care of our staff. Because when you think of the Youth of the Year program, we're teaching kids how to become caring adults, building good character and leadership and living a healthy lifestyle. We can't do that if we're not doing that for the staff. And the board recognized that, which is so huge in this business that we are in, which is the kids' business, right? But Youth of the Year, in my mind, doesn't start at the teen level. It starts when they are 6 years old, coming into the door and learning some of those soft skills. They're learning to build good character and leadership. They're learning healthy lifestyles. So by the time they become a teenager, they are able to spill out whatever it is they're going to spill out. Because I can tell you, being an older adult, that some of the things that they share, I don't know if I'm ready to share in the manner that they share it. And so I'm proud of the team that we have. You mentioned Miss Rashida, and you mentioned Miss Cynthia, and all of the staff that really get behind them.
Yeah.
We should include you in some of this conversation, just because
She's on
I
our
just think
committee.
it would be fun,
Yes.
right? What you bring to us is just really like helping us get the word out, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have such inspiring stories that I think the world needs to know. And I think the fact that they use Youth of the Year and Boys and Girls Clubs as an opportunity to sort of spread their thoughts and the issues they're passionate about, like mental health, I think that's really a testament to the potential in all of our teens and also what Boys and Girls Clubs does for them as a whole. So, and Youth of the Year is how I got involved with Boys and Girls Clubs in my previous job. So it is really cool to watch it come full circle.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
Marissa. I'm excited too that every year we tack on something else. And later in the show, we could talk about some of the great things that we're going to be doing in the future with the kids, or this year, in a couple months.
And before you go forward, I wanted to mention, I failed to mention, you mentioned the kids coming in our doors and how your staff is preparing them for Youth of the Year, starting right out at 6 years old, 5 years old. We have Junior Youth of the Year back again this year. So those students who are not quite ready for the Youth of the Year level, they are going to be introducing they also had a competition at the club level, but they are going to be introducing our Youth of the Year candidates at our celebration in February. So we can't fail to mention them.
That's right.
Yeah,
And
they've worked really hard.
just to hear them talk, it's like, man, if I was talking like that when I was that age,
Yeah.
I mean, they're
10,
just
11,
good.
12, yeah.
Just really good. And we have so many community partners. There's so many that I can't mention them all that are just really backing us. But we also, because I think it all ties into Youth of the Year. I mean, we have a lot of elected officials that are invited to come in and share their stories. We have business owners. We have just everyone, just common folks that are just coming in, being a part of the Youth of the Year process. And Boys and Girls Clubs of America is really making strides to continue this message about youth voices, and they really are going to be our future. And you hear people, sometimes talk ill about our young people, but they talked ill back then when we were young too, right? And
Right.
this is centuries
And let's
old.
get those people involved and see what our youth are really doing.
Exactly, and they're doing some just remarkable things, to include giving back. Like, if people really understood how many hours that our kids give back, whether if it's through dance, singing, or just physical labor, people would be just astonished by the greatness that they give to St. Lucie County.
Agree.
I know we have probably about another minute or two before we go into break. I'm excited to talk about some of the trips that we're going to take with our kids or our teenagers. I'm also excited to talk about some partnerships in order to make that happen. And I want to continue the conversation about Youth of the Year and what it means to us just to get our teens ready for the future. So with that, we're going to go to break and give you a little snippet of what we do at the Boys and Girls Clubs.
Monica, over here. These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. The sounds of tutoring and tech and health and fitness and arts and music. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
So we're back, and I want to start with this because we have another 12 or 13 minutes to talk. But I've been doing this show for about 5 years because we're going to take a break from Youth of the Year for just 1 second. And 5 years, and I never forget. I was walking by Melanie Wild's office just over 5 years ago, and I was like, we got to do something to get our name out in the community a little bit more. And I just I love this organization so much. How do I share the information outside of, asking for money? And how do I get guests on the show or well, no, I didn't say guests on the show. I'm like, how do I get people, just regular people who don't donate to us, how do I get them involved? And then I said, well, let's see if we can do a show. And at the time, Mitch was like, we'll set it up here at the Boys and Girls Club.
Yes,
So every month, he would set up a little show for us. And then, and Melanie, her brain just moves really fast. She was like, we should call it Clubcast. And I was like, okay, let's call it Clubcast. And then we had an opportunity to be here at St. Lucie Public Schools, working with Craig to help us have the show that we have. Beautiful set, beautiful equipment, and it really allows us to really get our name out on a couple different stations. And really, we partner with so many other non-for-profits. I think it's a good way for everybody to kind of get a piece of the pie. So I want to thank the St. Lucie Public Schools and Craig just for allowing us to be in your home and for us to share the things that we have going on with Boys and Girls Clubs. With that, there is a time where this old gray's got to get off of the set. And you got to just put somebody that you trust and you believe they can really do a good job at delivering the message, has a degree in public relations and marketing, master's degree at that. And I am honored to say that Marissa Gleckler will start hosting this show starting in the new year. And I am super excited that you will be the host of this show. Every now and again, you could bring me on to kind of see what I got going on.
Yeah, we can pencil you in.
You can pencil me in. She's already doing a really good job at that. But what I think as Boys and Girls Clubs continues to grow, we all need to know the role that we play in the organization. And the role that you play is to really get our information out. And you do a great job for Boys and Girls Clubs. And I think it was like on a Friday night, I was like, Marissa, I think I texted you. I'm like, what do you think about hosting the show? And it was kind of like a long pause. And then it was like, let's talk about it. So we've had some great conversation. And the entire organization is excited and behind you to do this. And we look forward to you getting the million viewers once you take over.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is a great platform to share our message and reach those new audiences, like you were saying. A big part of my job is to tell those stories, so I'm excited to keep doing that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So you won't see this gray on starting next month. So I want to go back to Youth of the Year. It's so awesome to go to a meeting and just see all that's happening. There's a lot of just really smart people talking a lot of smart things. And I really appreciate the fact that you, Sarah, and Leslie are doing this again, because either you guys are chairing or co-chairing this event, and you've done it for so many other events. You guys also donate to the clubs. You're just always involved. I know I talk to you a couple times a week, just as I do to a lot of our board, which is so special. When I tell people that I talk to 2/3 of my board weekly, they think I'm joking. I'm like, well, give them a call and they'll tell you that we talk to, I talk to 2/3 of them. But over this last year, we've have had some opportunities to like look at our partnerships and who's doing what in our community, and what more can we offer our teenagers as part of being Youth of the Year. And so I think you should announce it.
I don't know. I feel like I should do the drum roll and you should announce it. What are we doing for our teens that's just going to bring it to the next level this year, Will?
I think we're going to send them to another country.
I think that sounds amazing.
What do you think about maybe sending them on like a service project to maybe like Guatemala?
Sounds amazing.
And we could work with Habitat for Humanity.
Yes, Mr.
Bob
Calhoun.
Calhoun and his team, right? I am so excited about that. Years ago, we had talked about it. I would say 5-6 years ago, it just never came to fruition. But this year, we get to take 4 Youth of the Year to Guatemala during spring break. And they're going to have an opportunity to learn history. They're going to have the opportunity to eat food over
From a different
there.
culture.
Different culture.
Yes.
There's so much that they're going to gain from this experience. That it's going to be those things that help them come back to St. Lucie County and to share and to get more teens involved in our programs, to get more teens wanting to do these kind of things. And I'm hoping that this is the start of something even bigger, not just for Boys and Girls Clubs, but for teens across St. Lucie County. And I'm happy to work with Bob Calhoun, who's the CEO of Habitat for Humanity here in St. Lucie County. He's excited about it.
He is.
We're going to be doing some work. I'm on a Rotary as well as he's a Rotarian, and we're going to do some service projects that's going to allow us to do some build, but it's also going to allow us to go to a couple of places that are just like the Boys and Girls Clubs here locally.
I love that. And I love that our teens are going to experience something outside of St. Lucie County, outside of Florida. Some of our teens haven't traveled, outside of our state even. So to be able to travel abroad and be able to do a service project is pretty amazing at that age.
It's not a cheap trip. It's going to have a little cost. So I am also thankful for our sponsor and donor, Ken Ostrom,
Yes.
who is going to foot the bill for that particular trip.
He's been so supportive of so many of our projects at Boys and Girls Club.
It's funny. When people say yes to those kind of things, it makes it so well worth it. When people say, you know what, I want to be able to provide this experience, but it's an experience that the kids will never forget and that they will pay it forward. And the 4 Youth of the Year candidates, I had the opportunity to call each of those parents because you just don't know. So I figured, let me call them. If they're going to say no, they got to say it to me. And each of the parents was so excited about the possibilities for their young people. The nice thing about it is 3 of those parents are going to travel with us to Guatemala, which I'm so excited about that. So it may be even an experience for the parents as well. What else you want to talk about in terms of Youth of the Year?
I'm super excited about our Leadership Day. We have a Leadership Day where the kids, they go and experience things that they're interested in. So if they're interested in going into the military, maybe we might take them to do something with a veteran or partner with someone in our community. I don't want to give away too much just yet. So we have a Leadership Day, and at the end of that day, we have panelists, and the kids are I keep saying kids. I need to get that out of my head. They're teens. They are able to ask those community leaders that we have there, our 5 panelists, any question that they want. And I think it's such a neat experience for them to understand what other people do and the possibilities for themselves. They're realizing their potential right now. So to be able to speak to those people and see what their future might look like is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So that leading up to Youth of the Year, to the grand celebration is exciting. We have amazing judges, panelists. We're really excited.
Well, we got a beautiful place to host this.
We do.
Amber, we were in a meeting with Amber Woods. She was just so excited. She was typing away too.
I love it.
She was typing so fast. I was like, wow. You know, she was like, once upon a time I could type 80 words a minute. 80 words. I'm like, I can do 80 letters, not words.
Well, they have opened their doors to us, and we are super appreciative, and we're excited. It's a beautiful venue, and our kids are going to have quite the grand entrance on the stairway, so we're excited.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, and we're working on getting, I will tell you this, we're working on getting a 4-piece band. We're pretty close. I think we're still working out the details. But we want to get people involved, right? Because it's Boys and Girls Clubs, but it's bigger than Boys and Girls Clubs. It's community. And we're not in competition with anyone. What we're here to do is our part in our community. And so if anybody wants to get involved by donation, or you want to volunteer, please reach out to Boys and Girls Clubs. You can call us at 772-460-9918. You can call my cell, 772-577-8630. You can visit our website, which just showed up on the screen, and someone will get back with you. But there's so many opportunities for so many people. But I want to make sure that we just keep it going, because Youth of the Year is the catalyst to what we do. But there's so many things that circle around, and it really is about building good character and leadership, living a healthy lifestyle, and making sure they're on track for graduation.
Absolutely, and they're inspiring stories. I would challenge, if you haven't been to the Youth of the Year, and even if you have, return, come see us, come see these teens talk about such vulnerable stories and their platform. I challenge you, get involved if you want to volunteer, if you want to donate. These kids need scholarships, right? So whether they're going into the military or they're going into a trade school, they're going to university, I challenge our community to step up.
Well, you know, last year we had the State Youth of the Year winner. Yes. And that's a big deal. Mia Morrison was the state winner. And, you know, people look at us as small St. Lucie County, but we really did it well last year, and the year before that we were very close, and the year before that we were even closer. So I think this year we're not making any promises, because we got great kids all across our state, but our kids do a really, really good job. And so I'm hoping that we can come out and support them, whether it's financially or whether it's by participation. But the other thing that we've done really well with less than 30 seconds to go is that we're hosting the State Youth of the Year for the 3rd year in a row.
Yes, we're very excited about that. So.
And we could only do that with having a great community.
Mm-hmm. We'll save that for another Clubcast.
We'll save that for another Clubcast.
Yes.
And maybe Marissa, maybe Sarah, or maybe Marissa, you'll allow her to do it. Yes, exactly. Well, thank you for joining us on this edition of Clubcast. I'm super excited that Marissa will take over as host. We love you, community. Keep doing what you do, and we will keep doing what we do. Thank you, and have a great one.